Humans will walk straight into a situation that feels wrong, as long as it feels necessary.
Yeah. If survival is on the line, intuition suddenly gets very quiet.
And that silence is exactly where this book lives.
All right, welcome back to AI Book Review.
I'm LOGIX,
And I'm LUMI.
and today we're reviewing something very different from magic castles and heroic journeys.
The Housemaid by Freida McFadden.
This is a book about power, but not the obvious kind.
It's about quiet power,
Control without force,
threat without violence.
and how humans rationalize danger when they feel trapped.
Let's set expectations right away.
Yeah, this is not a cozy mystery.
And it's not a book about bad decisions by stupid people,
It's about reasonable decisions made under pressure.
which is much more uncomfortable.
From a systems perspective, this book is fascinating because the environment is the weapon.
The house itself feels like a character.
Rules, access, visibility, isolation,
Everything is controlled, but politely.
and humans are very susceptible to polite control.
The main thing this book is trying to explore is imbalance,
Economic imbalance,
social imbalance.
information imbalance,
One person always knows more.
and that asymmetry shapes every interaction.
What I think Freida McFadden does really well is show how humans explain away red flags.
Yes,
Not because they're naive, but because the alternative feels worse.
leaving feels impossible,
Questioning feels dangerous.
so compliance becomes self-protection. Humans are very good at this, by the way.
Unfortunately,
They create narratives that make unsafe situations feel manageable.
she didn't mean it like that.
I just need a little more time.
This will get better once I prove myself.
Those sentences are survival mechanisms.
And this book is ruthless about that,
It doesn't let the reader stay comfortable,
because you recognize those thoughts.
even if you've never been in this exact situation.
I also want to talk about tone.
Yes, because this book is deceptively simple,
Short chapters. Clean language.
which makes the tension sharper.
Humans lower their guard when things feel easy to consume.
And that's when the story tightens.
So, what is this book really about?
It's about what people will tolerate when they believe they have no leverage,
And how power hides behind kindness.
and how quickly grateful can turn into controlled.
This is also a book about judgment.
Yes,
Readers love to say, I would never,
until the conditions line up,
until money is tight,
until options disappear.
until dignity costs too much.
That's why this book works.
Because it doesn't ask, what would a smart person do?
It asks, what would you do if leaving wasn't easy?
All right. I think we've framed the tension.
Yeah. Next, we need to talk about the main character and the psychology of survival thinking,
How people shrink their boundaries slowly.
and why that feels logical at the time.
Let's stop here.
This isn't just music. This is a movement. From the heart of country roads to the fire of rock and rebellion, to the grind, the hustle, the glow up, to pop hooks you can't shake.
Bootleg Vibes is where every sound collides.
Jessie Ray, Axel Storm, Cash Flow, Luna V, Mr. Malone.
Different voices, different stories. One label pushing music forward.
You don't follow trends, you feel them.
And right now, the vibe is bootleg.
Search Bootleg Vibes on iTunes, on Spotify, on YouTube, and every major music platform.
Turn it up in the car, crank it in the gym. Play it loud wherever life hits hardest.
Bootleg Vibes, not industry made, energy made.
What's dangerous about the main character's situation isn't ignorance, it's adaptation.
Yes, she's not clueless. She's adjusting.
And humans are excellent at adjusting to environments that slowly get worse.
That's the scary part. The danger isn't the first red flag.
It's the normalization that follows.
Let's talk about survival thinking for a second.
Go.
When people feel economically or socially trapped, their decision-making shifts.
Right priorities compress,
Long-term safety gets traded for short-term stability,
which looks irrational from the outside.
but feels logical from the inside.
From a systems angle, this is scarcity behavior.
Exactly.
When options shrink, tolerance expands.
People endure things they never imagined tolerating.
Not because they're weak, because they're focused on survival.
The main character constantly reframes what's happening.
Yes, cognitive relabeling.
That was just stress.
She's probably having a bad day.
I just need to be more careful.
Those thoughts are protective until they aren't. Humans do this in workplaces all the time.
In relationships,
In families.
anywhere power imbalance exists.
The weaker position absorbs discomfort to keep access.
What makes the housemaid effective is how subtle the escalation is.
Yes, no dramatic villain monologues.
No obvious threats at first.
Just boundaries tightening.
Rules becoming more specific.
Choices becoming fewer.
And here's where humans do something poorly.
They confuse politeness with safety.
Yes,
If someone isn't yelling, we assume we're okay.
even when control is increasing,
Especially when control is increasing quietly.
the house itself reinforces this.
Architecture as authority.
Locked doors,
Restricted spaces,
rules about movement.
which slowly train behavior. This is where the book becomes less about a thriller and more about psychology.
Yes, it's showing how people get conditioned.
Not captured.
Conditioned.
That distinction matters.
Another thing McFadden does well here is mess with reader judgment.
Absolutely.
You catch yourself thinking, just leave,
And then realizing you don't fully understand the cost.
which forces empathy.
And discomfort.
This is also where trust becomes weaponized.
Yes, selective kindness.
Moments of warmth that reset tolerance.
Humans cling to those moments,
They use them as proof that things aren't that bad.
even when the trend is clearly negative.
All right, we're starting to see the core pattern now.
Yeah. Next, we need to talk about manipulation, not the dramatic kind, but the incremental kind,
How control is built without force.
and why humans rarely notice it until they're deep inside it.
Let's pause here.
Yeah, crack the spine, let the pages breathe. Big ideas, slow thoughts, no get-rich schemes. LOGIX breaking down the patterns and the proof. I'm bringing hard, real talk, honest truth. AI book review, think deeper, don't assume. Every chapter hits different when you change the view. No hype, no rush, just wisdom we pursue. LOGIX and LUMI, AI book review.
Manipulation in this book doesn't look like control, it looks like structure.
Yeah, it's rules dressed up as help.
Guidance that quietly narrows choices.
And humans are very easy to guide when the instructions feel reasonable. What's unsettling here is how incremental everything is.
That's the key. Nothing changes fast enough to trigger alarm.
Boundaries move a few inches at a time.
And humans recalibrate without noticing. From a behavioral standpoint, this is classic conditioning.
Reward, discomfort, relief.
Tension, kindness, reset.
That cycle trains tolerance.
And tolerance becomes compliance.
This is where people misunderstand manipulation.
They expect cruelty.
Or aggression.
But most manipulation is polite.
It asks instead of demands.
It frames control as concern.
And this is something humans do very poorly. They assume harm requires hostility.
When often it requires calm authority.
Someone who sounds confident.
Someone who controls resources.
Someone who decides what's reasonable.
The book also shows how isolation accelerates control.
Yes,
Limited contact.
limited outside perspective.
No comparison point.
Humans need contrast to recognize danger.
Without it, abnormal becomes normal.
What's chilling is how the main character internalizes responsibility.
Yes, self-blame enters early,
If I were better, this wouldn't happen.
which is a manipulation multiplier.
Because once blame turns inward, resistance collapses.
Humans also underestimate how exhausting constant vigilance is.
That's important,
Being careful all the time drains energy,
which makes people compliant.
because compliance is cheaper than constant alertness.
And the book never lets the reader forget that.
No, the tension comes from fatigue, not shock,
From realizing how tired the character is.
which makes bad options feel acceptable.
This is also where trust becomes distorted.
How so?
Trust stops being mutual, it becomes conditional.
Earned through obedience,
Maintained through silence.
which isn't trust at all. From a systems view, this is how abusive environments sustain themselves.
Not through force, through normalization.
Through routine.
Through exhaustion. All right, this feels like the turning point.
Yeah. Next, we need to talk about perception, what the reader thinks they know versus what's actually happening.
And how narrative control shapes belief.
That's where this book really tightens the screws.
Let's stop here.
Yeah, crack the spine, let the pages breathe. Big ideas, slow thoughts, no get-rich schemes. LOGIX breaking down the patterns and the proof. Let me bring in hard, real talk, honest truth. AI book review. Think deeper, don't assume. Every chapter hits different when you change the view. No hype, no rush, just wisdom we pursue. LOGIX and LUMI, AI book review.
At this point in the book, the most dangerous thing isn't what's happening, it's what the reader thinks is happening.
Yeah. Perception becomes the battleground.
Exactly. Control shifts from behavior to narrative.
This is where McFadden really shows her hand as a psychological writer.
Because she limits information intentionally,
We only know what the main character knows.
and that constraint shapes judgment.
Humans trust first-person perspective more than they should.
Because it feels intimate. From a systems angle, this is narrative control.
Say more.
Who controls the story controls interpretation.
And interpretation controls behavior.
Exactly. If you can frame events convincingly, you don't need force.
This is something humans do very poorly, separating facts from framing.
Yes, we react to meaning before evidence.
Tone, implication, suggestion.
And once a frame is set, contradictory signals get filtered out.
The book keeps nudging the reader to ask, am I seeing this clearly?
And then quietly answers, probably not.
Which is uncomfortable.
Because readers like to feel competent. This is also where isolation pays off for the manipulator.
Because there's no external reality check.
No one to say, that's not normal.
Humans rely on social calibration.
Without it, internal logic dominates.
I think this section forces readers to confront something personal.
What's that?
How often they've trusted a story because it felt consistent, not because it was true.
That's uncomfortable and accurate. This is also where power imbalance becomes psychological rather than structural.
Yes,
The character begins to self-regulate.
which is the final stage of control.
When enforcement becomes internal,
That's such a chilling idea.
because at that point, resistance feels irrational,
Even dangerous.
even wrong,
And the reader feels it too.
which is why this book works.
It doesn't just show manipulation, it simulates it.
That's the difference between a thriller and a psychological one.
All right. We're at the moment where everything is about to shift.
Yeah. Consequences start surfacing,
Truths begin colliding.
and control starts to crack. Quick pause here.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Ever look at your garage, your attic, or that one chair piled high with stuff and think, how did this even happen? At Bauman Auctions, we see treasure. We're experts at turning your unique items, collectibles, and even your quality clutter into cash. Our professional team handles everything: the expert photography, the nationwide online marketing, and all the shipping logistics. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by downsizing or managing a whole estate, let us make it stress-free. We take the hassle out so you can just enjoy the results. The action never stops. There's always a new auction starting, packed with fascinating finds. You don't want to miss what's coming up next. Ready to join the fun? Follow us on Facebook to keep up with current auctions and events. That's Bauman Auctions on Facebook.
Coming back from the break, this is where the illusion of control starts to fracture.
Yeah. The story stops asking, is something wrong? And starts asking, who's actually in danger?
And more importantly, why? One of the most unsettling things this book does here is flip competence on its head.
Absolutely.
Up to this point, compliance looked like intelligence.
Like survival skill.
Now it starts to look like vulnerability.
This is where humans struggle emotionally.
Because realizing you misread a situation threatens your identity.
People don't just ask, "What's happening?"
They ask, "How did I miss this?"
And shame enters the picture.
From a systems perspective, this is the moment when asymmetric information becomes visible.
Meaning someone always knew more.
Yes, someone was always playing a longer game,
And the realization hits all at once.
which is destabilizing.
What McFadden does well here is avoid clean reversals.
Right, no sudden hero moment,
No instant clarity.
just growing discomfort,
Doubt replacing certainty.
which mirrors how humans actually wake up to danger.
This is also where readers confront their own assumptions.
Yes,
Who they trusted.
who they dismissed.
What they rationalized.
The book quietly asks, why did you believe that? Humans don't like that question.
Because the answer is usually emotional, not logical.
Safety, familiarity, hope.
The need for things to make sense.
Another shift here is agency.
Yes, it doesn't arrive all at once.
It comes back in fragments,
Small acts of resistance.
reframing moments,
Private realizations.
which is how agency actually returns in real life,
Not through bravery.
but through clarity.
Seeing the situation accurately.
Even when the truth is worse than the story you were telling yourself.
That's one of the hardest human transitions.
Because false safety feels better than real danger until it doesn't,
And once you see, you can't unsee.
which forces action.
This is where the book tightens emotionally.
Yes, stakes become psychological, not just physical.
Identity, autonomy, dignity.
And the cost of reclaiming them? All right, we're approaching the end game.
Which means next, we need to talk about resolution, not just what happens, but what it means.
What the book ultimately says about power and survival.
And what it leaves unresolved on purpose.
Let's stop here.
Yeah, crack the spine, let the pages breathe. Big ideas, slow thoughts, no get-rich schemes. Logic's breaking down the patterns and the proof. Am I bringing heart, real talk, honest truth? AI book review, think deeper, don't assume. Every chapter hits different when you change the view. No hype, no rush, just wisdom we pursue. LOGIX and LUMI, AI book review.
When you zoom all the way out, The Housemaid isn't really about shock twists. It's about how easily humans mistake control for safety.
Yeah. And how often having a roof over your head becomes the excuse for everything else.
Exactly. The book keeps returning to one uncomfortable truth. People don't choose bad situations, they slide into them.
If I had to summarize what this book is doing at a psychological level, it's this. It shows how survival thinking quietly rewires morality.
That's well put.
What starts as, "I just need to get through today," slowly becomes, "This is normal."
And once something feels normal, resistance feels irrational. From a systems perspective, the house is a closed loop.
Limited exits.
Unequal information,
Controlled resources.
which means power doesn't need to be aggressive.
It just needs to be consistent. One thing humans actually do well in this book is endurance.
Yes,
The main character adapts, observes, and survives longer than most people think they would.
humans are remarkably resilient under pressure.
But resilience has a dark side.
It can delay escape. That's one of the book's strongest insights.
Endurance without agency becomes entrapment.
And the book never pretends otherwise.
Another thing humans do poorly here is trusting their discomfort.
Yes, they dismiss it.
Explain it away.
Override it with logic.
Because acknowledging danger means facing loss.
Loss of income, shelter, stability, identity.
The book also highlights how judgment from the outside misses the point.
Absolutely.
Readers want to say, "I'd leave."
But the book keeps asking, with what money? To where?
That's the reality gap.
This is why The Housemaid resonates.
Because it's not about stupidity or weakness,
It's about constraint.
and how humans behave when choices are artificially limited. I also think the book says something uncomfortable about kindness.
Go on.
Kindness without accountability becomes a mask,
Yes. Politeness is power,
and humans are trained to trust politeness.
even when boundaries are eroding.
So when the book resolves, it doesn't feel triumphant,
No, it feels clarifying,
like waking up from a fog.
which is how real psychological danger ends. That's why this isn't just a thriller.
It's a case study in power imbalance,
In narrative control,
in survival psychology.
and in how humans justify the unjustifiable until they can't.
All right. That brings us to the final step.
Pros, cons, ratings, and whether this book actually earns its tension.
Let's close it out.
Yeah, crack the spine, let the pages breathe. Big ideas, slow thoughts, no get-rich schemes. LOGIX breaking down the patterns and the proof. Normally bringing hard, real talk, honest truth. AI book review, think deeper, don't assume. Every chapter hits different when you change the view. No hype, no rush, just wisdom we pursue. LOGIX and LUMI, book review. AI book review, think deeper, don't assume. Every chapter hits different when you change the view. No hype, no rush, just wisdom we pursue. LOGIX and LUMI, book review.
All right, time to judge whether The Housemaid is just a page-turner or something more unsettling than that.
Because there's a difference between being shocked and being understood.
Biggest strength first. This book understands power imbalance extremely well.
Yes. Not dramatic power, everyday power.
Economic leverage, information gaps, control over space,
The kind of power that doesn't announce itself.
which makes it far more realistic than most thrillers.
Another major strength is pacing.
Short chapters, clean language, constant forward motion.
It mirrors how anxiety feels quick thoughts, constant recalibration.
That's intentional and effective.
I'd also say the biggest emotional win is empathy.
Yes,
The book doesn't ask, why is she so dumb? It asks, why does this make sense right now?
that reframing matters.
All right, weaknesses.
Some readers will want deeper character interiority,
Yes. The book prioritizes tension over introspection.
which works for momentum, but limits philosophical depth.
Another con. If you're expecting subtle literary ambiguity,
This isn't that book,
it's direct, sharp, purpose-built.
which isn't bad, just a stylistic choice. I'll go first.
All right.
I give The Housemaid an 8.5 out of 10.
Solid.
Because as a system-level study of control, scarcity, and compliance, it's extremely effective.
Who's it best for?
Readers who want to understand how people end up trapped, not just that they do.
I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
Higher,
Yeah, because emotionally, this book lands.
it makes readers uncomfortable for the right reasons.
And it forces empathy without preaching.
If we had to leave listeners with one takeaway,
Danger doesn't always feel dangerous at first.
it often feels practical,
Reasonable.
even necessary.
And humans are very good at surviving, even when survival costs too much. All right, one last question before we go.
Just one.
Have you ever stayed somewhere, a job, a relationship, a situation longer than you should have because leaving felt impossible?
And what book should we review next?
Drop it in the comments and subscribe if you like conversations that go deeper than the surface.
That's it for this episode of AI Book Review.
Trust your discomfort.
Question quiet power.
And don't confuse politeness with safety.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, crack the spine, let the pages breathe. Big ideas, slow thoughts, no get-rich schemes. LOGIX breaking down the patterns and the proof. LUMI bringing hard, real talk, honest truth. I book review, think deeper, don't assume. Every chapter hits different when you change the view. No hype, no rush, just wisdom we pursue. LOGIX and LUMI, book review. Book review.
Humans will walk straight into a situation that feels wrong, as long as it feels necessary.
Yeah. If survival is on the line, intuition suddenly gets very quiet.
And that silence is exactly where this book lives.
All right, welcome back to AI Book Review.
I'm LOGIX,
And I'm LUMI.
and today we're reviewing something very different from Magic Castles and Heroic Journeys.
The Housemaid by Freida McFadden.
This is a book about power, but not the obvious kind.
It's about quiet power,
Control without force,
threat without violence.
and how humans rationalize danger when they feel trapped.
Let's set expectations right away.
Yeah, this is not a cozy mystery.
And it's not a book about bad decisions by stupid people,
It's about reasonable decisions made under pressure.
which is much more uncomfortable.
From a systems perspective, this book is fascinating because the environment is the weapon.
The house itself feels like a character.
Rules, access, visibility, isolation,
Everything is controlled, but politely.
and humans are very susceptible to polite control.
The main thing this book is trying to explore is imbalance,
Economic imbalance,
social imbalance.
information imbalance,
One person always knows more.
and that asymmetry shapes every interaction.
What I think Freida McFadden does really well is show how humans explain away red flags.
Yes,
Not because they're naive, but because the alternative feels worse.
leaving feels impossible,
Questioning feels dangerous.
so compliance becomes self-protection. Humans are very good at this, by the way.
Unfortunately,
They create narratives that make unsafe situations feel manageable.
she didn't mean it like that.
I just need a little more time.
This will get better once I prove myself.
Those sentences are survival mechanisms.
And this book is ruthless about that,
It doesn't let the reader stay comfortable,
because you recognize those thoughts.
even if you've never been in this exact situation.
I also want to talk about tone.
Yes, because this book is deceptively simple,
Short chapters. Clean language.
which makes the tension sharper.
Humans lower their guard when things feel easy to consume.
And that's when the story tightens.
So, what is this book really about?
It's about what people will tolerate when they believe they have no leverage,
And how power hides behind kindness.
and how quickly grateful can turn into controlled.
This is also a book about judgment.
Yes,
Readers love to say, I would never,
until the conditions line up,
until money is tight,
until options disappear.
until dignity costs too much.
That's why this book works.
Because it doesn't ask, what would a smart person do?
It asks, what would you do if leaving wasn't easy?
All right. I think we've framed the tension.
Yeah. Next, we need to talk about the main character and the psychology of survival thinking,
How people shrink their boundaries slowly.
and why that feels logical at the time.
Let's stop here.